Okay, let's go ahead and shape this hat a little bit more. I'm going to take my knife and roll this and kick off video number 2 for Charles. Put a little bit of movement in here, swoop it a little bit so that it's not so stiff. I'm cleaning up the bottom of this as I go as well. So need a very sharp knife on this. This is all in grain, or now it's under grain. Okay, so I'm also gonna just put some movement in this hat here. Soften this edge as it rolls underneath the brim there. See how that line looks compared to this one? That's a lot cooler there. So let's do that again on this side. And you got to watch the grain. It's going to come from the other direction on this one. So it's a different technique that you're going to use on your cut. So I'm going to do some more movement in this hat here and almost make it look like there's a crease in here. And I'm going to break up this even line. So it looks more like you didn't come back from the cleaners with a starch hat there. So I'm going to jump to a different knife here. This is a Helvy flex blade. So this will reach into these curves a little bit better, and I've got some compound on it. Actually, that needs to go back to the sharpener. Try this one. This one is another Gaiman wood carving knife. This is his standard one, so it's got the Scandi grind on here, but it's been a good knife too. It's got these beautiful handles on them. So I like to kind of take these creases in a similar direction, so that they're not going all these which ways. They've got some direction to them, showing a little bit of movement in a direction, not just movement everywhere. Okay, so now that I've kind of got that a little bit, I'm going to work on these ears. Now on these ears here, I'm going to start here with this line here, and I'm going to come down, and that's kind of mirroring the outside line there. I'm coming a little bit shallow so that I can make more of an earlobe there. And then I've got this little part right here, which you can stab this with a tool and make that the tool shape, or you can do it a little bit different with a knife. And that's the way I'm going to do this one today. So I'm going to start right here. Let's just roll this with the tool. So this is a 2mm dockyard in a Helvy handle, and I'm just going to follow this line around here like this and down. Okay, so I've got that there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to the outside edge of this and just kind of round it just a tad bit. Then when I've got this flare, I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to that flare and swoop it just a little bit more. It's making it a little bit more dramatic in there. So it adds just a little bit of interest and shape to him. Just a little bit more on that lobe. And I'm going to bring the lobe up just a tad bit by removing a corner off the bottom, so it looks like that lobe rolls up there and kind of hangs out there. So now with this this inner portion here, I'm going to just stop cut it, and my knife is at an angle going underneath it. Then I'm going to come back here and just remove a little bit of material from it. And this one is got to pick it out because it was underneath that that thing, and there it goes. So I've got my ear there, and I'm going to leave that like that. That's going to be good enough for this guy. Clean it up just a tad bit. So same thing with this one. And it really made sense to draw these at the same time so I can make sure they're even, but yeah, that's not always the way it goes. Because this ear does look a little bit fatter than this one, and I can take it down a little bit as I start tinkering with it a little bit. But we'll take this tool here, do this inner ear. And what's funny is my mind draws a blank on what all these things are called, but I actually went to school for that. But it's been 30 years and I didn't practice it, so that knowledge is not in there anymore. I only have a certain number of room, and that one's not staying. Okay, so let's hit this. There it goes. So I'm going to cut this earlobe up a little bit more. And this ear is a lot fatter, so I'm going to thin this one out. You got to watch the grain direction because you'll split stuff you don't want to split. Oh, there we go. He's there. Okay. So one thing I am going to do, and if I haven't done it already, I'm going to do a little bit more swoop in here on this mustache so that when I do put texture in there, it gives it some dimension. And I know, you know, some of you will see those pictures of Santa Claus where he's got this wavy beard as it comes down. It looks really cool, and you don't see that a lot in carving, but that's a really cool detail if you can get the texture over, or the when you start putting the hair in, if you can get them over those ridges without really disturbing these ridges. So but I'm going to even put some swooping in here so that it's you know, so it's not a straight line coming down. It's got some movement there, and then this one as well. This one will be the other direction. I think half the battle of this stuff is really just learning the grain direction and how it changes from one side to the other, and what cut that you need to approach either side. So we've got our ears, we've got our hat. We're going to do some hair, but I want to start shaping this guy down here before we start putting this hair in. The hair will be really one of the last things we do. This is some bandsaw mark steel, and I'm just randomly, or without any thought to it, kind of breaking up the straightness of it too as I remove these. Kill two birds with one stone. Okay, so first of all, we're going to start throwing in a neck here. So that neck's going to come down about here. What I'm doing is I'm going to take the corners off, but I want to make sure and get the detail in here while I can kind of measure and see where the center is. Because if you're not cutting these corners even, then it's harder to get the center line. But he's going to go like that. The suspenders are going to come underneath that shirt. So, okay, so shirt detail. Let's set him up here so I can see, and I know you can't, but let's see. So let's just start with that. Let's start with pulling in this neckline. So I've got this is a soft V. I'm going to push this down in here and push it straight up in there. And I've done this with a knife before, and it works out good, but it will leave a little cut line where that is, and I'd like to have a smoother transition here. So I'm going to use this tool here, and all I'm doing is just pushing it back. And you'll need one that's smaller so that it fits underneath that neck there. But I'm still going to come back with my knife and do a stop cut at the corner of the very top, and then remove a little triangle from the top right up in there so that it looks like that neck rolls up underneath the shirt there. Same thing here. Little stop cut. Remove this little corner here. And then pull that little chip out. By the time I finish, it's a big chip. Okay, so I've got a neck in there. Let's roll some collar. So I'm going to come down here for my collar, and this is just going to taper into the corner of the neckline on that corner there. And this one is not a hard angle. This one's going to be a rolled corner like this, a rolled shirt edge, like the shirt hasn't been washed and dry cleaned, so it won't have that crisp edge. So this one's looking a little shorter, but that's okay. So with that, I'm just going to stop cut this, and I'm going to use this knife to do it. I'm angling it in towards, and I know normally when I do these little flaps, I angle away. So I'm going to be very brittle, delicate, because this can break pretty easy here. So I'm not going to go deep, real deep when I'm there. I'm going to wait till I get further down and push my knife in so that it's deeper at that point. Now I can come back and remove this piece of wood. I've got a little cleanup to do where I didn't really meet the tip of that cut crisp, but it's not much. And like that, he's out. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. If I can get the angle right. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to take these corners down, but I'm going to start lower than that collar so that I can still maneuver the collar. And I want to kind of really round this off a lot. So but I'm going to do both sides a little bit before I start pulling it in a lot. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and remove all the bandsaw marks from this as well. And the front here. Okay, so what we've got here on him is a little belly. So we can do that little belly, and we can make it as big or small as we want. So I'm going to round. Our belly's not going to be square, so we're going to round it and bring this part in like he's being tucked into the pants, and really take off these corners even more. And now let's take off this shirt here, just a tad bit. Move the bandsaw marks. And let's find where this collar is going to be. So this collar, we're going to have up like this. We're going to come around the back and connect here. So to make quick work of that, I'm just going to grab this V-tool or soft V and come across there. Come across here. Come across here. Okay, so now that lets me round this section off as well, but I'm also going to shape this collar out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this knife here and I'm going to take the collar and just kind of swoop it up. And then I have to come back and do that line again, but it's okay. Because it makes this neck, it gives the neck a smooth transition into the underneath the head. And I can even come across the front here angling down that collar as well. So it's making that collar look a little bit relaxed as it's on the face there. Okay, coming back with the V-tool to separate the neck from the shirt. And then let's taper this bottom part here. Take off the bandsaw marks on each side. So you can come in as much as you'd like to here. Shape this however you'd like. Very careful not to break my collar there. Okay. So this collar right here still looks a bit big compared to that one, so. Okay, let's throw these suspenders in here. So I'm going to do the inside line first, and it's just going to come down. And actually, he just didn't have a clasp, so I'm going to match it on this side. This side tapers in a little bit more than here, so I need to hit this before I... that's better. And then do the outside edge. So with this, I'm just going to hit it with my knife, straight down. And then just take a sliver of material from underneath it. Same thing with the other side. Okay, so what I want to do though, now I've got this crisp edge on both sides, I want to kind of make that a little bit more subtle. So I'm gonna just roll that over just a tad bit with my knife so that it's not a hard line. It's also taking those pencil marks off. So, and then I'm gonna hit the other one the same way. Okay, so now I'm going to take those edges and round them just a tad bit. Need a little bit more up here, taken off. Just like that. Okay, so one thing I am going to do is I'm going to come back with a small Boehner. This is a a number 6, and this is probably only about 2 millimeters as well, 2 or 3 millimeters. And I'm going to come up this whole entire thing so that it doesn't look, so it looks like a different type of fabric or different direction, a different element. It'll keep it from really blending into the shirt just with the texture. So I'm just going to come up the center of this and leave it pretty simple. But all I'm doing is just really giving it different texture and different grain than the rest of the shirt, so it stands out a little bit more. Okay, so then what I'm going to do, as soon as I find the tool, this will work. So I'm going to put some more movement into the shirt as it comes underneath the suspenders. So I've got a number 6, and when I do this, I'll use a variety of tools, so it doesn't matter what you're using. But I'm going to come across and kind of tuck underneath it, right there, and the other side as well, giving it some wrinkles as it's coming across underneath that that shirt. And you're going to want to come out the other side just a little bit to make it look like it's the same wrinkle. And I'll add quite a few in here naturally as the shirt's sitting on his belly. And then you can come with a smaller tool and accent some of those, change them up from the other ones. You can come back with your knife, do a couple little V-cuts so it looks like a hard crease coming out of that there. And then I'm going to do the same one coming out this side right here. But it's the combination that's going to make it look more natural, not just the same tool coming out of there. But this could be fun. You can get carried away, and I do. But that looks pretty good there. Okay, so coming around the back, this guy just had one simple, you're going to need to find the center line. And we're going to do a Y shape here on the suspender. So I'm going to start with a V. You actually need to do a flat line and do your medallion or leather piece where they're joined first, so that you make sure the width hits that. And this corner, actually, I should go to that corner there, this corner here, so it gives you room for the rest of the strap. And they don't have to fall even, but just like that. So this is going to work just the way we did the other one. So I'm coming down here, stop cut, stop cut. I'm going to stop cut this medallion. Okay, so let's hit these lines, and I'm just removing a little bit with my knife, taking that piece off. My stop cut wasn't, there it goes. So it wasn't clean enough, but it did, it worked. Okay, so now I've got this medallion in the center. I have done stop cuts on it, but I want that to look like it's above these straps. So I'm coming back and removing the material around it, so it looks like it's just a little bit raised. And you can even come in here and do remove a little bit of material just to give it some shadow lines to make that really stand like it look like it's popped out. And I am removing the sides from this so it looks a little bit natural. I've got to hit this one a little bit better. Okay, so now I've got this small tool again, and I'm going to come and do the same thing like I did on the other side. So I'm going to do a deeper stop cut underneath this collar, so it's giving it more of a shadow and looks like it's coming better underneath that. And then need to break up the edge. Hard corners. Hard corners are going. Okay, so I also want to do, just like I did on the other side with the, add in a little bit of texture and wrinkles. So making sure that are wrapped around, kind of adding, so I've got some flow going around the whole thing. Another one is cool is the V tool, because, or the soft V, because it'll put a deeper gouge in here. And then if you roll it and twist it and use both sides to cut, you know, so you, on this side, you're up here, but when you get down here, you're pushing that tool on the side. It gives it a channel that's not uniform across the whole thing. So that's a cool thing. Okay, so we're about getting there. We just need to start on some of this hair now. I'm going to start on the beard, and I am going to use that soft V, because what the soft V is going to do is it's going to push more deeper cavities as I'm going up. And I'm not going to do long, straight hairs. I don't want uniform. I want something that's a little bit natural. So I'm going to come up with the texture that I've already created in smaller little cuts. So I'm not going a cut, I'm not going to try to drag a cut over all these ridges. I'm going to go a little bit and stop and then continue up the ridge so I don't break the ridge. And I'm angling it out the side there. But I am going to roll some of these inside on here so I can remove some of the material here to break up that edge when I'm there. Okay, and got to be careful around this area when you're getting up in that hole there, because it's easy to just nick it and put a little bit of a thing in there. But when I'm coming to this outer edge, I'm going to look for some of these hairs that are coming out the side here, and I'm just going to push my knife through there and take a little chip so it's breaking up the profile as it leaves the side of the mustache, and that makes that look a little bit more natural. Do the same thing around the whole thing. Just gives it a nice little more natural thing to it. So then I'm going to come back with this and do the same thing as it comes up the side of the face here. Little cuts. And I'm not going straight. I'm turning, doing like little S's, just giving it hundreds of little hairs in here rather than just, you know, even hairs across the whole thing. So when I come out the edge here, I am going to almost stamp and turn so that it really leaves a different elevation as it's leaving the side of the face. And that gives you the room to come back here as well and take out those triangles. Now, I've seen some people come and they'll just do even triangles across the bottom going one direction, and it doesn't look natural. It's the right idea, but the execution is not quite right. So coming from this side, doing a slice cut and doing it with the grain or with the you know, all the movements you've already got built in there makes it a little bit more natural. And then you can come back and you can even roll some of these back up the other way or do some of them and shape them individually. But that's all I'm doing is I'm running this just little soft V. Then you can come back with you know, a little smaller tool and even add more little a little bit more texture to it. You can even come back with a small V tool and add some more little hairs just across the whole thing like this. And that even adds more. This one I haven't sharpened, so I'm not going to mess with that, but you get the point. So that's pretty much the hair. I'll do a little bit on the back here. This is a good tool, that soft V, to come across all this because this is a larger section. And same thing. I'm doing all kinds of little cuts, not big, huge ones, and I'm moving it, and they're not all going straight and flat. You can kind of change the direction that you're doing here to create different looks. Rolling it this way makes it look like that hair is coming around the face, like he's a little bit shaggy. Kind of like that. But hair should be fun and look natural and improve the carving, not distract from it. So I mean, it's creates the dimension of who he is. So but same thing when I get here. It's best to get the neck done first because once you start messing this edge up, you don't have a clean edge to stop. So if there's anything you got to do for the neck, get it done. But you can do the same thing here with that slice and cut. Move a chip to create and break up this edge coming across. But that's it, guys. I think we're there. You know, feel free to take some more tools and make some more wrinkles in the collar and the shirt as it's coming across. There's a lot of cool things you can do. You can do a whole bunch of different paint jobs on this guy. You know, there are quite a few variations that you can do to this to make it look unique every time. So I think we did pretty good. This is Charles. Guys, if you enjoyed this, remember to like and subscribe and look out for the next video. Thank you, guys.